She thought I was clueless, but I moved my assets before she filed for divorce. When her trap backfired, she begged to reconcile. But it was too late. I've been buying and selling antique watches for 15 years. Patek Philippe, Rolex, Omega, pieces worth more than most people's cars. My whole career is built on one skill: spotting the details other people miss. A misaligned serial number. A replacement hand that's 2 shades off. The tiny inconsistencies that separate a $200,000 timepiece from a $2,000 fake. Turns out that skill translates pretty well to spotting when your wife is sleeping with someone else. I'm Ethan. 38, based in Philadelphia, married to Casey for 10 years. She owns Radiance Dermatology and Aesthetics, one of those high-end clinics where lawyers' wives go for Botox and Instagram influencers get free fillers in exchange for posts. She's built a solid business. I respect that. We bought a Victorian in Society Hill 7 years ago, picked up a beach house in Cape May 3 years after that. No kids by choice. Both of us were married to our work. Or at least, I thought we both were. Looking back, the signs started around February. Small things. She began working late 3-4 nights a week. Her phone habits changed, always face down on the counter, bathroom trips to text, a new passcode she didn't bother explaining. I didn't think much of it at first. Tax season, new clinic marketing push, whatever. Then I found the gym bag. It was a Thursday. Casey had left for an early Pilates class, forgot her water bottle. I grabbed it from her car to bring inside, saw this designer duffel in the back seat. Sleek black leather, gold hardware, definitely not from TJ Maxx. I wouldn't have looked inside, except it was unzipped. Agent provocateur tags. The pink ones. Lingerie I'd never seen her wear. My wife hasn't worn lingerie for me in 2 years. We're down to maintenance, sleeping together maybe twice a month, lights off, efficient. She says her job is stressful, she's tired, we're comfortable. I believed her. But apparently she had energy for La Perla bodysuits. Just not for me. I put the bag back exactly how I found it. Didn't say a word. A week later, she announced she was booking a wellness retreat to Sedona. Solo trip. When I offered to join, she got weird about it. I really need this time for myself, babe. You understand, right? She left on a Friday, came back Sunday night glowing, talking about crystals and energy work and finding her authentic self. That's when I started paying attention. Credit card statements showed charges I didn't recognize. The Rittenhouse Hotel Bar. A steakhouse in Rittenhouse Square where we'd never been. $200 dinners I definitely didn't eat. I found a receipt in her car for Tom Ford Oud Wood. Men's cologne. Not my scent, I wear Bleu de Chanel, have for years. Then came the Instagram discovery. Casey had started liking posts from this guy named Finn Calloway. Lots of posts. I clicked through to his profile. 29 years old, works at some exotic car showroom detailing Lamborghinis and Ferraris. Every photo was him shirtless or in a tight t-shirt, leaning against a Bentley, smirking at the camera like he was God's gift to women with daddy issues. His recent posts were geotagged. Same restaurants as Casey's charges. Same dates. I sat in my office for an hour that night, just thinking. My hands were steady. That's the thing about authenticating watches, you can't let emotion cloud your judgment. A racing pulse makes you miss details. I could confront her. Scream, cry, demand answers. Watch her lie to my face or admit it and beg forgiveness. Or I could do what I do best, observe, document, and wait for the full picture. I've negotiated million-dollar watch sales with Russian oligarchs and tech billionaires. You don't walk into those rooms without knowing every detail, every angle, every possible outcome. You sure as hell don't show your hand early. So I didn't confront Casey. I made some calls instead. My lawyer, Malcolm Sterling, does estate planning for half my client list. I set up a meeting. Just want to review our asset structure, I told him. Make sure everything's protected. 2 days later, I sat down with Priya Kapoor, my financial advisor. Thinking about expanding the business, I said. Want to talk about moving some funds around. Both meetings felt routine. Professional. Strategic. Neither of them knew what I was really planning yet. Hell, I barely knew. That night, I kissed Casey goodnight like always. She smiled at me, that same smile I'd fallen for a decade ago, the one that used to make me feel like the luckiest guy in Philadelphia. Except now I knew what it was hiding. And as I lay in the dark listening to her text someone under the covers, the glow of her phone screen reflecting off her face, I made a decision that would change everything. I wasn't going to confront her, I was going to dismantle her. I needed proof before I moved a single dollar. In the watch business, you don't act on hunches. You verify everything. Serial numbers, provenance, documentation. I've seen collectors lose fortunes because they trusted their gut instead of doing the work. So I made a call. One of my clients, hedge fund guy who collects vintage Omegas, mentioned he'd used a pie during his own divorce. Gave me a name. I reached out, paid cash, kept it off any records. 3 days later, I had a guy following my wife. The photos came back in a week. Casey and Finn at a wine bar on Walnut Street, her hand on his thigh. Kissing in the front seat of his Mercedes, a detailed black C-Class he probably leased to look more successful than he was. Walking into the Lowe's Hotel on Market Street at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday. The Pie's report was thorough. The affair started 6 months ago. Finn had detailed her Porsche Cayenne at the showroom where he works. They flirted. She came back 2 weeks later for a Polish touch-up that somehow took 3 hours. You can guess what got polished. The report also included Finn's financials, public records, social media analysis, that kind of thing. 29 years old. Lives in a 600 square foot apartment in Fishtown, rents month to month. Works commission only at the dealership. Drives a leased BMW. His checking account balance, according to publicly available court records from an old eviction case, $847. This was the guy my wife was throwing away a decade for. I filed the photos in a locked drawer in my office and went downstairs to make Casey breakfast. "Morning, beautiful," I said, sliding a cappuccino across the counter. I'd made it with the fancy machine she'd insisted we buy, the one that cost more than most people's monthly car payment. She looked up from her phone, startled. "Guilty." "Oh. Thanks, babe." "Big day at the clinic?" "Just the usual. Couple of consultations, a Sculptra client at 3. She was texting while talking to me, barely making eye contact. I kissed the top of her head. "You work too hard." She smiled that smile again. The one I now recognized as relief that I was still playing the oblivious husband. I kept playing it for 2 more months. She got bolder. Stayed out until 2 a.m., blamed it on a client emergency like someone needed urgent lip filler at midnight. Stopped wearing her wedding ring to the gym. Started leaving her laptop open with browser history she forgot to clear. That's how I found out she'd been researching divorce attorneys. She'd visited 5 different law firm websites. Googled Pennsylvania Divorce Asset Division. Read articles about protecting your wealth in divorce and maximizing spousal support. She was planning this. Calculating it. One night, she casually asked me about my watch inventory. "How much is the collection worth now?" "Just curious." "Hard to say. Market fluctuates. Maybe $650K if I liquidated everything tomorrow." Her eyes lit up. She tried to hide it, but I saw it. $signs. A week later, she asked about the beach house. "Do you remember what we paid for it?" "Around $890. It's probably worth more now with the renovations." More mental math happening behind those eyes. She was building her case. Adding up assets. Planning her exit strategy and her payday. So I built mine. I met with Malcolm again. This time I told him everything. Showed him the pie report. He listened, took notes, and then laid out Pennsylvania's equitable distribution laws. Marital assets get split fairly, not necessarily equally. But there are ways to protect what's yours. "I'm listening." "How much of your business predates the marriage?" "All of it. I started dealing watches at 23. He leaned back. "That helps. We can argue the business appreciation is separate property. What about liquid assets?" "Joint accounts have about $300K. Investments are another $420K. All built during the marriage." Malcolm tapped his pen. "Start documenting business expenses. Reinvest joint funds into inventory. Business assets are harder to split. Consider restructuring property ownership through LLCs. All legal, all traceable, but it limits her access." I met with Priya the next day. "I need to move money," I told her. "Into business accounts, investment vehicles, anything that keeps it separate from marital assets." She didn't ask why. Financial advisors who work with my kind of clients know better. Over the next 6 weeks, I systematically moved every liquid dollar we had. Transferred $285,000 from our joint account to my business LLC, documented as inventory acquisition capital. Liquidated the stocks, reinvested through a separate structure Priya set up. Moved the beach house deed to my sister's LLC. She owned 1% as the public face, I own 99% through a hidden partnership agreement. All legal. All documented. All timestamped before any divorce filing. I left $12,000 in the joint account. Grocery money. Casey never noticed. She was too busy planning her future with Finn. I knew this because she started bringing him around. Ethan, this is Finn. He detailed my car, did an amazing job. I thought maybe he could do yours too? The balls on this woman. I shook Finn's hand. Looked him in the eye. Sure thing, man. I appreciate it. I tipped him $100 and watched Casey's smile widen. She thought she was winning. Thought she was so clever, parading her side piece in front of her clueless husband. Finn detailed my Mercedes in the driveway while Casey watched from the window, practically glowing. I went upstairs to my office and transferred another $80,000 into an offshore holding account. That night, Casey moved into the guest bedroom. I think we need space, she said. This isn't working anymore. Whatever you need, I told her. She looked almost disappointed that I didn't fight. 3 weeks later, on a Tuesday night in October, I sold a 1967 Rolex Daytona to a private collector in New York. Cash wire, $340,000. Deposited into an account Casey didn't know existed. That same night, I came home to find her and Finn in our living room, my living room, drinking champagne. Celebrating something. She saw me and winked. Actually winked. I smiled back. Because in 72 hours, she was going to walk into a settlement conference expecting a lottery. And I was going to watch her world collapse in real time. The envelope landed on the kitchen counter 2 nights later while I was making coffee. Casey walked in wearing yoga pants and a smug expression I'd seen on sellers who think they're about to fleece me on a fake submariner. Ethan, she said. We need to talk. I turned around, mug in hand. What's up? She slid the manila envelope toward me. Official looking. Legal sized. I'm filing for divorce. I opened it. Scanned the documents. Her signature already on the bottom line, dated yesterday. Okay, I said. She blinked. Okay? If that's what you want, I'm not going to fight you on it. Her face did something complicated. Surprise, maybe disappointment. She'd been expecting tears, begging, anger. The classic desperate husband routine. I haven't been happy for a long time, she continued, like she'd rehearsed this. We want different things. I need to focus on myself, on my growth. This isn't about you, it's about me finding. It's fine, Casey. You're not even going to ask why? I sipped my coffee. You just told me why. You're not happy. You need space. I get it. She stared at me like I'd grown a second head. So you'll sign? I'll have Malcolm look it over, but yeah. If we're done, we're done. The relief on her face was almost funny. She'd expected a war and I just handed her an unconditional surrender. I want this to be fair, she said. Equal division of everything. The house, the investments, the beach place. I think that's reasonable. Sure. My lawyer says I'm entitled to spousal support too. Given the lifestyle we've maintained. We'll let the lawyers figure it out. She actually smiled. Touched my arm. Thank you for being mature about this. I nodded and walked upstairs with my coffee. I could hear her on the phone 30 seconds later. Baby, it's happening. He didn't even fight. This is going to be so easy. Baby. She wasn't even trying to hide it anymore. That weekend, Casey told me she'd hired Vanessa Chen. I knew the name, shark divorce attorney with a 94% success rate representing wives. She specializes in high asset divorces and her fee is $650 an hour. Casey was confident. I could see it in the way she carried herself. She'd stopped pretending to be sad about the divorce. Started browsing luxury apartments downtown on her laptop. I saw a Cartier tab open one day. She was looking at love bracelets. The $7,000 ones. Her texts with Finn got careless. She left her phone on the bathroom counter one morning while she showered. I glanced at the screen. Finn, when do we find out about the money? Casey, settlement conference is next week, baby. Lawyer says I should get at least 1.5 M plus support, money bag emoji. Finn, holy crap. We're gonna be set? Casey, I know right? Already looking at that penthouse in Rittenhouse. Finn, gonna buy me that Rolex we saw? Smirking face emoji. Casey, whatever you want, baby. I put the phone back exactly where it was. That night, Malcolm called. Discovery documents are ready. You need to review what we're submitting. I drove to his office. He spread the papers across his desk. Joint bank account, $12,447. Joint investment accounts, $0. Liquidated 8 months prior for business expansion. Beach house, owned by Coastal Properties LLC. Registered to my sister. Not marital property. Business inventory, $650,000, but held in a sole proprietorship I'd established before the marriage. Separate property, the marital home, $1.2 million current value. $340,000 remaining mortgage. The divisible marital estate is basically just the house, Malcolm said. She's looking at maybe $265,000 net after the mortgage is split and sale costs. No spousal support, she owns a thriving business, there's no dependent need under Pennsylvania law. What's she expecting? Based on the demands Vanessa filed? At least $1.6 million plus $4,500 a month in support. I leaned back. She's going to lose her mind. That's the idea. Malcolm closed the folder. You sure you want to do this? Once we're in that room, there's no going back. I've never been more sure of anything. The discovery period crawled by. Both sides exchanged financial documents. I provided everything Malcolm prepared, carefully curated, completely legal, and absolutely devastating. Casey got the statements and called me that night. Where's the investment account, Ethan? Liquidated it. Market was volatile, moved everything into inventory. Business is booming, I tripled my stock. It's all in the documentation. And the beach house? It's always been in an LLC for liability protection. My sister's the registered agent. I told you that when we bought it. I hadn't told her that. But she couldn't prove otherwise. This doesn't seem right. Everything's documented. Your lawyer has copies of all the transfers, all dated, all legal. If Vanessa has questions, Malcolm can walk her through it. She went quiet. I could hear her breathing. You moved money around before I filed, didn't you? I protected my business assets. That's what any smart business owner does. Ethan. Look, your lawyer will sort it out. That's what you're paying her for, right? She hung up. But she bought it. Or at least, she convinced herself that Vanessa would claw it back in court. I saw her texting Finn later. His lawyer is playing games but mine says she can fix it. The confidence never wavered. 4 days before the settlement conference, I got a text from Casey, hope you're ready to be fair on Thursday. I texted back, always. That night, I met Priya at a wine bar in Old City. She slid a folder across the table. Everything's secure, she said. The offshore accounts, the restructured investments, the business holdings. All clean, all traceable, all legal. If they audit you tomorrow, you're bulletproof. Thanks. Can I ask you something? Sure. Was it worth it? All this planning? I thought about Casey and Finn toasting champagne in my living room. Her wink. The years of lies I hadn't even uncovered yet. Ask me again on Thursday. The morning of the settlement conference, I put on my best suit. Charcoal Tom Ford, the one I wear when I'm selling a watch to someone who thinks they're smarter than me. Casey left early, she wanted to prep with Vanessa. I took my time. Made breakfast, read the news, checked my watch. 1962 Rolex GMT Master. I bought it the day after she moved into the guest bedroom. I looked at myself in the mirror. Showtime, I said. Malcolm was waiting in the parking garage when I arrived. We rode the elevator up to Vanessa Chen's firm in silence. The receptionist led us to a conference room. Mahogany table, leather chairs, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Broad Street. And there was Casey. New Stella McCartney dress. Fresh Botox, I could tell by the way her forehead didn't move. Hair blown out, makeup perfect. She looked like she was going to a gala, not a legal negotiation. She sat next to Vanessa, who was already flipping through documents, lips pursed. Casey caught my eye and smiled. The smile of someone who thought they'd already won. I smiled back. And sat down to watch her lose everything. Vanessa Chen opened her leather portfolio and got right to business. Let's establish what we're working with, she said, voice crisp and professional. The marital estate consists of the primary residence valued at $1.2 million, the Cape May Beach property, joint investment accounts, joint savings, and Mr. Callahan's business interests. She slid a document across the table. Her projected valuation. Total marital assets, approximately $3.2 million. My client is seeking equitable distribution, 50% of all marital property, which comes to $1.6 million. Additionally, given the lifestyle established during the marriage and the income disparity, we're requesting spousal support of $4,500 per month. Casey's face was pure satisfaction. She glanced at me, waiting for the panic. I kept my expression neutral. Malcolm opened his own folder. Let's clarify the actual marital estate. He slid documents across the table, one by one. Joint bank accounts, current balance $12,447. Vanessa frowned. Casey's smile faltered. Investment accounts, 0. Liquidated 8 months ago, reinvested into Mr. Callahan's business inventory, a sole proprietorship established prior to the marriage, making the business itself separate property under Pennsylvania law. Wait, Casey started. Malcolm kept going. The Cape May property, owned by Coastal Properties LLC, registered to Mr. Callahan's sister. Not a marital asset. Documentation shows the LLC was established before the property purchase for liability purposes. That's not. Casey looked at Vanessa. He told me we bought that together. Do you have documentation showing joint ownership? Vanessa asked, her tone cooling toward her own client. Casey went silent. Malcolm slid another paper forward. Business inventory, valued at approximately $650,000. However, as this is a sole proprietorship predating the marriage, and the inventory appreciation is directly tied to Mr. Callahan's specialized expertise, it's classified as separate property. Vanessa was reading fast now, flipping through pages. The only significant marital asset, Malcolm continued, is the primary residence. Current value $1.2 million, with a remaining mortgage of $340,000. After sale costs and mortgage satisfaction, the net divisible equity is approximately $530,000. He let that sink in. 50% of which is $265,000. The room went quiet. Casey's face had gone from confident to confused to pale in about 30 seconds. As for spousal support, Malcolm said, Mrs. Callahan owns and operates a successful dermatology practice with annual revenues exceeding $800,000. There's no dependent need. No support awarded. This is bullcrap, Casey said, her voice shaking. Where's the money, Ethan? Where the F is it? Watch your language, Vanessa said quietly. He hid it. He knew I was filing and he hid everything. Malcolm's expression didn't change. Every transaction is documented and dated. All business transfers occurred between February and August, months before any divorce petition was filed. All are legal business expenses, inventory acquisitions, and standard asset protection strategies. Nothing was hidden. It's all in the public record. Casey turned to me, eyes wild. You planned this. You knew. I met her eyes. Calm. Cold. I protected my assets. Just like you protected your secrets. What secrets? What the hell are you? Malcolm slid a second folder across the table. This one was thicker. Vanessa opened it. Her face went hard. Photos. Time-stamped. Casey and Finn at the wine bar, his hand on her lower back. Casey and Finn kissing in his car. Casey and Finn entering the Lowe's Hotel, time-stamp, 2:47 p.m. on a Tuesday. 47 photos total. 12 had video timestamps. Hotel receipts. Text message logs pulled from phone records, all legal discovery. Your client, Malcolm said evenly, has been engaged in an extramarital affair for approximately 6 months with one Finn Calloway, age 29, employed as a car detailer. The affair is well documented. If this proceeds to court, all of this becomes public record. Submitted as evidence. Accessible to anyone, including Mrs. Callahan's clients and business partners. Casey stared at the photos like they might disappear if she looked hard enough. You didn't disclose this, Vanessa said to Casey, her voice ice. It's not. Did you or did you not have an affair during the marriage? Casey's mouth opened. Closed. It's complicated. It's a yes or no question. Silence. Vanessa closed the folder. Looked at Malcolm. What are you proposing? Uncontested divorce. Assets divided as documented. Mrs. Callahan receives her 50% of the marital home equity, approximately $265,000 after fees and mortgage. No alimony. No further claims. Clean break. And if we don't accept? Malcolm leaned back. We go to court. All of this becomes public. Every photo, every hotel receipt, every text message. Pennsylvania considers adultery inequitable distribution determinations. A judge might decide Mrs. Callahan's conduct warrants an unequal split. She could walk away with significantly less than $265,000. He paused. Or she could walk away with nothing and a ruined reputation. Casey looked at Vanessa, desperation creeping into her voice. Can he do this? Vanessa's jaw was tight. Everything he's presented is legal. The affair complicates things significantly. If you'd told me from the beginning, she cut herself off. My advice is to take the offer. But take the offer. I watched Casey's world crumble in real time. The confidence evaporating, replaced by something between panic and disbelief. This isn't fair, she whispered. You wanted a divorce, I said. You're getting one. Malcolm produced the settlement papers. Vanessa reviewed them, made a few notes, whispered something to Casey. Casey signed. Her hand was shaking so badly she could barely hold the pen. 20 minutes later, we were done. Malcolm and I stood. Shook hands with Vanessa. Professional courtesy. Casey sat frozen in her chair. Casey, Vanessa said softly. We need to go. I walked out first. Didn't look back. In the elevator, Malcolm allowed himself a small smile. That went well. Yeah. She'll contest it. She signed. People change their minds when they're in shock. Let her try. We walked out into October rain. The street was slick, gray, the kind of weather that matches the mood. I stood by my car and looked back at the building. Through the glass doors, I could see Casey on the sidewalk, phone to her ear. Even from here I could see her shoulders shaking. My phone buzzed. Text from my sister, how'd it go? I typed back, checkmate. I got in my car, started the engine. In the rearview mirror, I watched Casey standing in the rain, still on the phone. Her perfect blowout was getting ruined. Her makeup starting to run. She looked small. Lost. I felt nothing. I drove away. And the real fallout hadn't even started. I heard about the Finn situation from my sister 3 days later. She'd run into one of Casey's friends at Whole Foods, the kind of friend who loves drama more than loyalty. Apparently, Casey had met Finn at their usual spot the night after the settlement conference. She told him the news. The real numbers. He'd gone quiet. Then asked, so how much are you actually getting? About $265,000. Once the house sells. Long silence. That's it? I thought I was getting more, but you told me you were getting millions. His voice had an edge to it. You said we'd be set. I thought we would be. He hid everything, Jesus Christ, Casey. That's when she realized Finn had been counting on her money just as much as she'd been counting on mine. Turned out he'd quit his job at the dealership 2 weeks earlier. Told his boss he was coming into money and didn't need to kiss rich people's asses anymore. He'd racked up $3,200 in credit card debt buying new clothes, a Tag Heuer watch, bottles at clubs. All on the assumption that Casey was about to be a millionaire. They argued in the parking lot. He called her stupid. She called him a user. He blocked her number before he even got to his car. She called him 47 times that night. I know because she told a mutual friend, who told my sister, who told me. I laughed when I heard. First real laugh I'd had in months. The house went on the market a week later. Casey moved out, had to. She couldn't afford the mortgage on her own, and I sure as hell wasn't paying it. She moved into her sister's spare bedroom in the suburbs. Her sister's place is nice enough, but it's a 3-bedroom ranch in the burbs with beige carpets and a Honda Odyssey in the driveway. Quite the downgrade from Society Hill. The clinic started showing cracks too. Her head esthetician quit. Just walked out one day, took 6 of Casey's biggest clients with her, and opened a competing practice in Chestnut Hill. Word was that the esthetician had been carrying the clinic for months while Casey was too distracted with Finn to notice. Then the rumors started. Someone leaked the divorce. Could have been anyone, a paralegal, a court clerk, hell, maybe Vanessa's assistant. Philadelphia is not a big city when you run in certain circles. The local society blog ran a blind item, which dermatologist to the stars got caught playing doctor with the wrong patient. Casey's Instagram comments turned vicious. Where's your husband? Trouble in paradise? Not so perfect after all, huh? She deleted every post with me in it. But people noticed. Screenshots circulated. Someone made a Reddit thread about influencer dermatologists getting divorced. Her follower count dropped by 4,200 in 2 weeks. She tried to keep up appearances. Posted about self-care and new beginnings and finding yourself after toxic relationships. But I could see the desperation. The clinic started offering Groupon deals, 20% off Botox, first syringe of filler free with treatment. Her high-end clients noticed. You don't Groupon when you're successful. You Groupon when you're scared. Meanwhile, I bought out her share of the Victorian. Used liquid assets from a watch sale, a 1953 Patek Philippe perpetual calendar I'd been holding for the right buyer. Got $440,000 for it. Paid Casey her $265,000 settlement, kept the house. My business was thriving. Turns out having an extra million in operating capital opens doors. I acquired a rare collection of vintage Rolex Daytonas from an estate sale in Connecticut. Sold them to a private collector in Dubai for $890,000 profit. And I started dating again. Her name's Isla. 33, art conservator at the Philadelphia Museum of Art. We met at an estate auction. She was bidding on a painting. I was there for a watch collection. She's quiet. Thoughtful. Wears minimal makeup and doesn't own a single piece of designer clothing. She restores Renaissance paintings for a living and gets genuinely excited about 18th century pigment analysis. No games. No pretense. No carefully curated Instagram feed. Just real. We took it slow. Coffee, then dinner, then a weekend at the beach house. She loved Cape May, walk the beach looking for sea glass, read books on the deck, fell asleep with her head on my shoulder while we watched the sunset. Everything Casey used to do for the photo op, Isla did because she actually enjoyed it. I posted one photo on Instagram. Just one. Me and Isla at the beach house, sunset behind us, wine glasses in hand, genuine smiles. Caption: some things appreciate with age. You just have to know what's worth keeping. 847 likes. Including from people who used to be our friends. I unblocked Casey just so she'd see it. She tried reaching out after that. Mutual friends saying she wanted to talk. Emails that I deleted without reading. She showed up at an auction house once. Security escorted her out before she got within 50 feet of me. I'd warned them she might try. 6 weeks after the divorce was finalized, my life had never been better. And hers had never been worse. I was at the beach house with Isla when my phone rang at 11 p.m. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. But something, curiosity, maybe the need for closure, made me pick up. Ethan? Her voice was wrecked. Broken in a way I'd never heard. Please. I need you to know. I should have hung up right then. But I didn't. Because I'd been waiting for this moment. The moment she finally understood what she'd lost. I walked out onto the deck. Isla was inside reading, giving me privacy without me having to ask. Casey, I said. What do you want? Sobbing on the other end. Messy, ugly crying. I could hear a TV in the background, her sister's place. I made a mistake, Ethan. The biggest mistake of my life. I said nothing. Finn was nothing. It meant nothing. I don't know what I was thinking. I got caught up in something stupid and I threw away everything that mattered. She was slurring slightly. She'd been drinking. We were good together. Remember Santorini? Remember our wedding night? We can fix this. We can go to therapy, we can. Stop. She went quiet except for the crying. You called to tell me you made a mistake, I said. I'm listening. I miss you. I miss us. I know I screwed up, I know I hurt you, but we had 10 years together. That has to mean something. We can start over. I'll do whatever it takes. Why now, Casey? Because I realized too late that you were the real prize. That I had everything and I was too stupid to see it. That's not what I asked. Why are you calling now? Silence. Let me guess, I said. The clinic's struggling. You had to let people go. You're living in your sister's guest room. Everyone knows about the affair. Your Instagram engagement is tanking. Finn's gone. And you're running out of money. More crying. So you're not calling because you love me. You're calling because you need me. That's not fair. Casey, I'm going to say this once. Listen carefully. I heard her breathing change. Trying to pull herself together. You didn't make a mistake. You made choices. Calculated ones. You chose to sleep with Finn. You chose to lie to me for 6 months. You chose to research divorce lawyers while I was sleeping next to you. You chose to add up my assets like I was a retirement plan. Ethan, you didn't love me. You loved what I provided. The house, the lifestyle, the status. And when you thought you could take half of everything and upgrade to someone younger, you went for it. No hesitation. That's not true. I did love you. Then you chose to stop. And that's fine. People fall out of love. But you don't get to come crawling back when your plan blows up in your face. She was fully crying now. I'm losing everything. The clinic is falling apart. I had to fire 2 people. I can't afford my own place. Everyone's laughing at me. My own clients are making jokes. And you think I'm supposed to feel bad about that? I think you're supposed to care that I'm suffering. Why would I care? My voice was ice. You stopped caring about me the second you let Finn put his hands on you. Please, Ethan. Please. I'll sign a prenup, I'll do counseling, I'll do anything. Just give me another chance. I looked through the window. Isla had looked up from her book, watching me with those steady eyes. I'm at the beach house right now, I said. The one you loved. The one you thought you were going to get in the divorce. Casey went quiet. I'm here with someone who didn't need to lie to be worth my time. Someone who sees me, not my bank account. Someone real. You're dating someone? Did you think I was going to wait around for you? How long? Does it matter? She made a sound like she'd been punched. Here's what I want you to understand, Casey. I knew about Finn 3 weeks after you started sleeping with him. What? Every smile I gave you after that? Strategy. Every I love you? A placeholder while I secured what was mine. Every time you thought you were playing me? You weren't even in the game. You knew the whole time? You called me boring. Predictable. Said I never took risks, I laughed. But I built a business from nothing. Turned $50,000 into millions. I read people for a living, spot fakes, identify value, recognize craftsmanship. Ethan. And somewhere along the way, I realized you were a fake too. Beautiful on the surface. Hollow underneath. Don't say that. You tried to play chess with someone who built the board. Silence. Just ragged breathing. I'm done, Casey. You wanted your freedom? You have it. Along with your choices and their consequences. Please don't do this. Don't call again. Don't show up. Don't send emails. We're strangers now. You made sure of that. Ethan, wait. Oh, and Casey? One more thing. She was barely breathing. That beach house you loved? Where we spent our honeymoon. Where you posted all those sunset photos for Instagram. I'm here right now. With someone who doesn't need filters to be beautiful. I could hear her breaking. Goodbye, Casey. Enjoy your fresh start. I hung up. Stood there for a moment, listening to the waves. Then I turned off my phone and went inside. Isla looked up. You okay? Yeah, I said. I really am. She smiled and went back to her book. No questions, no drama. Just acceptance. I sat down next to her, and she curled into my side like she belonged there. Because she did. 6 months later. Casey sold her share of the clinic to her business partner. Works there now as an employee, no ownership stake. Lives in a 1-bedroom apartment in the suburbs. Her Instagram account is private. She lost another 3,000 followers. Last I heard, she saw me and Isla at a charity gala. Hid in the bathroom until we left. Finn's back to detailing cars. Got fired from the exotic car place for sleeping with another client's wife. New girlfriend every month. Still owes Casey $2,100 he borrowed temporarily. She'll never see it. Me? Business is better than ever. Opened a second location in Manhattan. Just acquired a 1,518 Patek Philippe for a client, sold it for $1.2 million. I proposed to Isla at the beach house last month. She said yes. Weddings next fall. Small ceremony, close friends, no Instagram announcement. Just real life with someone real. I still think about Casey sometimes. Not with anger. Not even with satisfaction. Just with clarity. She taught me the most valuable lesson I've ever learned: some people wear masks. And when those masks slip, you don't try to fix them. You just get out of the way and let them fall. I'm wearing the watch I bought myself the day the divorce finalized. 1972 Rolex Submariner. Had it engraved. The caseback reads, "Time reveals everything." And it does. Every single time. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If you really like our videos, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Have a great day.